What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all said y'all gonna stick around, you know what I'm saying, for the hour video. This is an important video. This is an important video. Everybody just chill, grab y'all some popcorn, grab y'all something to drink. About to see what's going down. Definitely want to check this video out. To see, insight of, a professional. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this reaction. You already know what's going down. Let's get in the video.
All right, aloha everyone. Michelle with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. And I am so excited about interviewing Robert today. He has been, most of his life, he's been a botanist. For 48 years, he's been studying plants and trees. And I'm going to actually let him give you his background. But we're going to be talking about, he's also been studying, how many locations have you gone to or pictures have you studied over the past, 7 years? You gave a number when I saw your interview last.
I've been to 38 fire aftermaths, mostly in California, a few in Southern Oregon, and taken 107 trips to all of them. So I've done a lot of footwork collecting evidence at every site, except perhaps 3 that I deemed were normal forest fires that we know of. All the rest were else.
Wow. So yeah, something else. So Robert, just share a little bit more about your background, and we'll just start from there.
Well, I started learning plants in the late 60s from my mom, and when I turned 15, I had horticulture classes and forestry classes in high school, and I've never stopped learning about the plant kingdom. 48 years now of learning trees, shrubs, vines, wildflowers and ferns, mostly California natives, but many imported around the world to our residential homes. And I think before I left high school, I knew every tree in California, which isn't all that hard. And then became an arborist for 20 years. And
how many trees are in California?
I was going beyond some of the areas they
said it ain't that hard
about, and reclassified myself with my own term, forensic arborist. Because that's what I feel I am now. I've been to 38 aftermaths, like I said, and 107 trips to all these in the last 7 years. And somewhere along the line, I was designing a
that's a lot of trees, bro.
Santa Rosa,
I don't know.
maybe an hour away. And some pictures came up on the internet that didn't compute to me. And when I share my screen here, I'm going to show you some of those.
So that was about 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
You saw a fire and you're just like, what? That doesn't look normal. So just go ahead. Share your screen.
And
as you do that, I'm going to shut this glass door for sound, but keep going.
Okay. What I saw was something that didn't make sense to me. I saw this picture of Santa Rosa, California. This came up on my computer screen because I'm looking for hikes and waterfalls and such. And this came up, and yeah, all the houses are missing their white ash, but what are all the trees doing there?
Right.
Many of these are pines and eucalyptus and very flammable leaves. It just made no sense to me. I've got a background of cooking on campfires for my entire adult life, from sea level to 13,000 feet in the Sierra. I've burned everything, and everything burns in a tiny campfire. And this is a horrific firestorm, they said. Why are all the trees still there? So it didn't work well for me. And I waited a couple months, and I went up there after things died down, and I analyzed every street I could for 8 hours. Nothing, I mean nothing, added up. I've never seen anything like in my life. I was completely baffled. And we'll get into the materials and the fine tuning of this in a minute here. But when I see forest fires, the trees are burned up, the needles are gone, the twigs are gone, many of the branches are gone. Sometimes the trunk is burned down halfway or all the way to a low stump, and even holes in the ground. That's the way they burn. No exception. They don't leave their needles on there. With their needles on there, how do we even call it a forest fire? The forest didn't burn. So I saw that, and shortly after my journey, I saw this picture on the internet from a drone possibly, and I see these buildings, a Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and a gas station, and they're just completely burned, leaving only metals and stone. But what I see is the trees.
Green
all
is
3 species here,
not even black.
Family, Chinese pistache or pistachio,
Straight green.
African sumac, and Brazilian pepper. I'm sorry, Peruvian pepper, which is now called California pepper. All of them did not burn. And how did a fire cross a freeway? This is Highway 101 in the Santa Rosa area. You got 200 yards of no trees before you get to these buildings, but yet they burned and nothing else. And anybody who's gone to a fast food, you notice there's no wood showing. It's all plastics and metals and slate and terracotta and newer building materials. Fires don't just start on these types of buildings, but yet there's the pictures. Even with the ambient heat from these buildings, it didn't do much to the trees. A few are brown, but I cannot say the trees burned up.
Yeah.
And this happened again
green.
and again and again. And so I started analyzing fires everywhere. And somewhere along the line, I finally found a YouTube video of John Lord and Matt Dakin, who analyzed Paradise, California on 3 different occasions.
And who are they?
They're both 30-year fire captains, one out of Petaluma and one out of San Ramon. They were good friends, and they saw what I saw. They did 5 good videos with Shelley. You can find them on YouTube. And they saw all the anomalies that I saw. So I left them a message on YouTube. They got back to me, and we got together and showed them all my work, and they said I was exactly right. And then over the last
That's odd,
5 years now, I've been educating them on what trees actually grow in California, which ones burn and which ones don't. Sadly, a year and a half ago, we lost John. He died of different types of problems. But they gave me a good start and introduced me to a lot of folks that know what's going on in these fire scenarios. So,
What do you think is going on in these fire scenarios when firefighters or captains are questioning things just the same as you are?
Yeah, when they get out and question them, not many of them, I think, will speak up.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of retribution somehow, either getting fired or something worse. Many of the top fire people know exactly what's going on. When you don't see the forest burn, but yet houses are, and some of these materials don't burn, you have to ask your question, what is going on here? And many
Do I speak up or do I not say
and other
anything at all?
workers have said, we've never seen fires like this, or the fires were so hot we couldn't even get close to them to put them out. And they were also very hard to put out. And so over the years, I've come to different conclusions. I believe most of these fires are microwave based. They're not normal wood fires that we know of. And I'll get into that later here.
Okay, thank you.
Many materials will not burn. And I have a saying I made up. All the materials that didn't burn should have. And all the materials that did burn shouldn't have.
Oh, wow.
That's true.
And I want to start off. This is in Maui now. I've taken some of the pictures off the internet here. So none of these Maui pictures are mine. And I'm going to expand on every one of these pictures. And this is the same stuff exactly that I've seen in California. No different. All the same fire footprints. Things that don't make sense. Here, a home's on fire and nothing else. And I believe that's because of all the metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, that are in a house. These things get hit, they burn, and it's rare to see a tree burn or any plant unless it's in very close proximity to the house. And I mean 10 or 15 feet. So this is common now. Here you have, it looks like a grove of eucalyptus trees. I'm not positive on the species. The whole left, they didn't burn. Meanwhile, the house is just gone. The cars, they all look like this. They'll be dented up. The windows will be melted out. Now, the auto glass melts approximately at 2,500 degrees.
Whoa.
Forest fires don't get that hot.
It's like,
this is like my third time hearing that.
1,400.
Yeah, I was just going to say 1,400.
And
wow,
to get
and
above
also
that-
the wheels are melted.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
All the way.
Unless you're adding different accelerants or really burning some hot wood, you're not getting above those temperatures. Perhaps here and there you would, but it would not melt these windows. You notice the doorknobs are always gone. The rims, they're an alloy or an aluminum, they melt out at 1,221 degrees. That doesn't happen. Your fires on the ground that are in the grass, if they're a couple inches off the ground, they're only 300 degrees. The 2 fire captains educated me on that. They never see rims melted out. in a combined 60 years of service. Sometimes
Wow.
they'd get to a car late in the day because they were busy and the car fire was already out. The rims still didn't melt out. Yet, I've seen a good between 600 and 800 vehicles. If the rims are aluminum or alloys, they're always
So we can all say this
either
this is
in
not
chunks
natural.
like this one, or in flowing aluminum puddles that flow away like a river away from the vehicle. Windows and rims always gone unless they're metal rims. Um, let's see. So look at your organic matter. What kind of forest fire forgot all the trees? It's working.
And you said something about the eucalyptus before we
Yeah,
started.
eucalyptus is one of the most flammable or combustible leaves I know of. Here in the States, California, we have many species. And the blue gum is the one I see the most. I can pull the leaves off the tree, green, take a cigarette lighter, and light them on fire. Every time. And they burn pretty
Wow.
quick. If you put them in a small campfire, you better back up. These things, the oils in them are very flammable. And also your California bay tree, which is in your laurel family, along with camphor trees and avocado trees and many others. The California bay tree has a ton of oils. When I'm camping in the Bay Area, these are different parks, and I can hardly see my campsite. I want to find my way back to my tent. I grab some of those leaves, put them in my little campfire. Instantly, I've got big flames everywhere. In 7 years now, I've not seen one leaf of either species burn. Any eucalyptus species and any of the California bay leaves, even when the leaves are hanging down on the ground where the fire is, they're not igniting.
Oh my gosh! So I'm curious about that because you said microwave waves to create fire creates such a hot fire. That's so interesting of why they wouldn't burn, but that's a whole different topic. Go ahead and keep going.
All I can say is they don't recognize the organics, even though they're super hot. They seem to be much hotter than our regular wood fires, but for whatever reason, they're not recognizing organics. They turn everything brown. They suck the water out of it like it's in a microwave oven in your kitchen, leave them brown or a light shade of green, but it will not ignite them unless they're in close proximity to metals. Or
You're talking about the fire. The
That's
fire
right.
doesn't recognize
that's right.
the organism.
Right.
Oh my gosh, the organics of that organism. Wow.
It has to be in close proximity to your metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, like aluminum, or creeks and water. And I heard along the shore here, the water was on fire. And they made up a lame excuse that there's oil and diesel and all that. No, the water itself was on fire. And I haven't seen pictures of it, but I've already heard that.
I have
So,
seen pictures of the water.
Your creek beds around here in California, I've noticed all the creek or water-loving trees have burned from the inside out.
Yeah.
Cooked like in a microwave. And these are willows, cottonwoods, alder, birch, maple, madrone, and many others that really want to be close to a creek. Not one leaf will be burned on them, even when the leaves are on the ground, but they'll cook from the inside out where the highest water amount of holding capacity would be. Pines and more flammable trees are doing the same, but at a slower rate, even though the sap in many pines is more combustible than the water lovers by far. They're kind of last to burn. The needles will be brown everywhere, but they're not burned up. Wrong picture there. Okay. There it is. Here you look at all the houses. They're white ash. Where's the black? Where's the carbon? It's rare I see black. So you're thinking intense heat. Well, why are all the trees still there? They're a little thin.
Right.
Cooked again.
Yeah.
I'm sure every one of them's dead. Perhaps some of the palm trees will come back. A palm tree is easy to light on fire. We've had a few car fires around here.
But y'all can
on
see,
the
like,
freeway
right-
and the residential.
Like right
And
here
they're
in this
palm trees.
area.
They burn up in a second. They're like grass.
Nothing.
They're thin, with a little bit of dead fronds on them. They'll burn in seconds. Yet I look at them, they're kind of super wilted. They turn black, which I see that often. There's a black color to all these dead trees. Leaves are black like a slow cooked marshmallow on your fire. It's kind of turning brown and dark black, and then if it doesn't ignite, these leaves just kind of wilt and turn dark colors. Another anomaly. They should all have been gone. With this kind of heat, everything should have been gone. Should have been stumps of trees. That didn't happen.
And it should be black, not white.
That's right. Out of these 38 aftermaths,
That's turned down to
35
ash all the
I
way.
deem were unnatural fires. Every house I've seen burn up, all of them have been burned to the ground, white ash. I have not.
And if y'all want to go check this channel out, it's Blossom Inner Wellness. Y'all want to check that video out if you haven't seen it.
much of any black anywhere. Once in a while, a 4x4 or something that's black, but they're all white ash, leaving walls, brickwork, stone, and metals. Everything else is completely gone.
Yeah, the toilet, the fridge, the
Yeah,
stove, which I've seen, houses in wildfire, and the stove is there. It doesn't go to ash.
that's right.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
dang it, that didn't come out either. This is the giant banyan tree I've heard about.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hopefully, I've got another tree. Okay. Here you have a fire all the way around it. Even the boats were on fire. Yet the
But the
banyan
tree.
tree's dead. Look, it looks like, but it didn't burn up. I've got
Mm.
it. Here it is here. After the fire, I see leaves everywhere and all the aerial roots coming down. They look kind of sagging and black, not necessarily.
But it didn't
dead.
burn all the way down
There's
like
a
the
big
house and the
hole
boats
to
and
your
stuff.
left, whether it's a splint or I think there's lights on it. It was so hot
Oh
it
yeah,
forgot to burn the wood.
forgot. Yeah.
Dry wood. Dead trees I've noticed that are dead before the fires, they're not burning. There's no moisture in them, and they should have
Oh
burned,
my
of course.
gosh.
So here's your wood 4x4. Didn't burn at all. It's doubtful this tree is going to grow back. I hope it does. I know there's an arborist over there looking at it, but if it's cooked from the inside out, it will not regenerate. And this is a ficus. You cut a ficus down, it grows back. Any fig
Oh.
tree, this is the way they're constructed. They're weeds. All the ficus are weeds. And here with your great soils and rainfall, it should sprout right back. But and I'm hoping it does. But I fear it probably won't. Um, yeah, here's a Jeep, I guess. Fires
Wow.
don't do this. The whole hood, it got so hot, the metal hood melted out. That's pushing 2,750 degrees. The rims
Wow.
have melted out in the street. What kept the aluminum melting 5 feet from the Jeep? There's no firewood there. There's no flames
Oh
on
my
the
gosh.
asphalt. Yet it
Wow.
keeps flowing. Uh, they're completely gutted. Windows, wheels. This is common. Every fire aftermath I've gone to. I want to say this is impossible, but the two fire captains I know of, they say they've never seen vehicles in their whole career like this. Windows are never
Yeah,
melted.
this is
They
something
might break.
crazy.
They don't even sag. They break or shatter or fall out, but they don't melt. That's 2,500 degrees and up. They start to melt at 25, but to get them to really flow and fall down, you're going to add another 100 degrees or more.
Hmm.
So what could do that? You don't have enough fuel in this Jeep. And I don't mean gasoline. I mean the fuels, the plastics, the seats, the cushions. All that isn't enough to get this kind of burn. And they always say that. There's just no way this could happen. Not every single car I've seen in 7 years. No exceptions. That's the thing. No exceptions. If it happened to one, okay, that's an anomaly. But every single vehicle.
Yeah.
Here you go with eucalyptus and there's some pines
All
on
the
that
trees.
also. House is missing or a metal shop, whatever it is. I see dead trees, but a firestorm would have left sticks. There'd be no leaves on it. That's your fire. The leaves, like in California.
He even has a tree right here, and the leaves are still on.
What is going on? I just got these today. Here's some nice trees here. They're probably dead. There's your cars, same old scenario. It's the same wherever I go.
So I have a question about the microwave energy.
Yep.
Have you looked into, like, I know that we've had direct energy weapons. Tesla founded the direct energy beam actually in the 1930s, right before he died when he was 80 years old. And we actually have a direct energy weapons act, and I think it was the act of 1976, I think it was. And but so there was actually a direct energy weapons, for lack of a better word, lab facility on Maui, which
Wow.
there's only two in the United States. One is in Nevada and one is in Maui. Have you researched the microwave energy?
Not entirely. I've read stuff, I've watched videos. Of course, they've got their trillion-watt lasers, things like that. They always act like we don't have that technology yet, but we're working on it. Well,
Yeah,
they're
they have
20,
it.
30, 40 years ahead of us, and they're just lying. Of course they've got it. This stuff, and this isn't
Just
happening
can't dig too
5G
deep in that stuff.
or a plane passing over. We actually think, which sounds very far-fetched, we think they're coming from satellites because it's concentrated on an area for hours. planes fly back and forth, and you wouldn't be able to hit at these angles. We don't think little drones are doing it, but I'm not ruling out any possibility. Matt, John, and I actually figured they're coming from satellites. When I was in my 20s, we had a president that was on national TV. He tells the world we're developing our Star Wars defense system. This is back in the 80s. Worst
I
president in
remember.
U.S. history. He
we're
said
at
that we all
23
laughed.
now.
We're not laughing anymore. They've been working on
Yeah.
this for a long time, just like 9/11. The buildings didn't burn up and fall down. They disintegrated in midair. A technology so advanced we can't even comprehend it. And this is the same or very similar technology. The cars look the same as that day on 9/11. No different. And like I said, every vehicle I've seen in 7 years looks like this. No exceptions.
Wow. What did the fire chiefs, the fire captains, what did they say about the microwave energy? Did they say anything else about?
A lot over the years. I guess I've known them both for 5 years. And they did a lot of research. I've taken both of them to fire aftermaths, and also the great Deborah Travaris. She happens to be a friend now. And I've taken her to analyze fire aftermaths. Mostly I do the education on the plant side of it. And even the windows and metals, I've just got on the computer and did my own research to have those numbers. But they saw it, the two firemen saw it, and they have a lot to say about all these houses and cars and also what's going on shortly after the fire's out. Immediately, the big corporations jump in there, kind of a disaster capitalism effect, if you will. They repair the roads right away. They put in brand new telephone poles as fast as they can. They dig up the road and put in new culvert pipes that go under the road because they're metal. And I've got pictures of that in another preview. And they're replacing them with plastic pipes under the road. Now, normal forest fires wouldn't affect a metal pipe 3 to 6 or 10 feet underground, but maybe with these weapons, they do. And they don't want the road to collapse. So 4 or 5 different aftermaths, I've been looking for those. And sure enough, where the fire crossed the road, they pulled every pipe out, no matter what depth, and replaced them with either plastic or poured a cement one, but never putting metal back. And that's right here at Big Basin State Park, where all the redwoods were in California, where they closed the park for 2 years, and they replaced these pipes. So a lot stood out, and Mike and John have given me Matt and John have given me a lot of ideas when I go out in the field, and I'd call them a lot, tell them what I've found. And a good little group of us, the three of us working together.
Wow.
A wealth of information those two fire captains have. They know the track record of what cars look like and what they don't look like. 60 years combined service, fire captains.
Wow.
So you look at this photo, and here's your palm trees.
I know. I was going to just.
Why didn't all the leaves burn off in a microsecond? Show you what one cigarette lighter can do to a dead frog.
And if y'all know some of these trees, y'all know y'all can crumble them up. Y'all know they flammable. Like
these buildings were burning for hours. The leaves
all back here.
Didn't burn.
All back here.
In the background.
Yeah, we have fires here. Like we'll have a bonfire at my place, and we have palm fronds that we throw in, and it's just like whoosh.
Yeah. There's no exception.
Yeah.
If some of these are blurry, I'm just borrowing these from the internet. To me, this was a kill city, my own term.
Gosh dang.
They weren't letting people out of the city. They were making you stay there. That's your police department. The firemen didn't show up, or very few did. They turned the cell phones off, I hear, for the town.
Yep.
They also turned the water off in the town. This was planned, 6 months or a year before. And all these larger entities are told or in on it to some degree. They're told what to do. Even your people in office
absolutely.
charge of the island. If there's a good guy, they're not at their levels. All these people have a lot of evil in them.
The governor actually he put out an emergency proclamation with no emergency 3 weeks before the fire, and he suspended 7 laws that affect housing and land development. And now, yesterday, they were just in Oahu, so they weren't even on Maui, and they had a meeting with, it looked like 20 to 25 people of unelected officials. The only elected official was the governor, and this is a meeting they were talking about Maui, and with the no sunshine law, which means it's people cannot bring testimony and they can't testify and say what they want. It's atrocious what they're doing.
Yeah, they make up the rules as they go along. This is nothing more than the billionaires club getting together and orchestrating destruction of the common people wherever they are. If they want something, they've got a weapon now that's so unimaginable. They can do whatever they want. They control every news outlet. And I heard on Maui you have the largest military base of the Hawaiian Islands. I don't know if that's true.
Yes.
So there's no stopping them as far as anything, in that area. They tell the military, any branch, they tell them exactly what to do. And this is worldwide. And your military personnel are just used to saying, yes, sir,
yes,
following orders no matter what.
No
they don't
matter
want
what.
to think on their own and have a heart and some empathy and, think for themselves. So it's just really hard to stop this. I know the whole Hawaiian people are really mad and they want to do something. I really don't know where to start. Get it out to the whole world, show all the information, show anomalies like I do that should have never happened, and talk about the whole infrastructure being shut down. And all the kids, of course.
And I'm possibly going to be posting this on Rumble as well.
God.
There's so many categories. We hold all the evidence, but they
Hopefully we
hold
can get this
all the
video
cards.
through.
That's the hard part. They won't let us get on the media, on TV, and show stuff like this and talk about it. I could never get on the TV, any of the 6 media giants in America. No. The truth will never get out unless we get it out like this, with our cell phones, with Zoom calls, little meetings all over the planet, and educate everybody. That's the only way we're going to get to them. And it's a tough call.
And I'm wondering. Oh, go ahead.
More of the same. This rim is chunked out. Some will be aluminum flowing like the back, and some of the fronts will just break off. And I don't have a reasoning why they come out like that. Perhaps that's the alloy. I don't know. Every vehicle looks the same, no exception. Now
Definitely.
I wanted to put some boats in there because I heard all the boats, even anchored out in the harbor, they burned up. One of them had a glass bottom boat. What's the fire doing 80 or 100 feet out in the water burning up? Don't tell me the flying embers in America here on the mainland. The 6 media giants always say, well, the flying embers, they get under the eaves. Every station I've noticed, the flying embers get under the eaves.
But it's like the fire is hitting stuff and it's moving around stuff.
It's heavy. These aren't little brown bags that are on fire that are floating through the air all the way out there and burn that thing up completely. I'd say it's impossible, but there's the picture. And another boat in the background. This doesn't happen. And this also happened at the car fire in Redding, California, a lake called Whiskey Town. All the boats in the harbor burned up.
Oh my gosh, I know Whiskey Town.
The docks were burned up.
Oh my goodness.
There's the other boat, the Roxy. What can do that? What flies out there and does that kind of damage? Even if a little flame did get out there, it's just not going to do that.
But even if, but that's the thing though. Even if the fire were to do that, got in the water, how did it get up here and not at the bottom? We blew right here. I mean, come on.
It's just not going to do that.
It's not going to melt metal like that.
Here's your windows and rims again, and there's trees in the background. It's the same thing wherever I go. There's a nice clear picture. This looks like the place burned up for hours and hours. And there's some things I want folks to look for. I believe they have some type of trash service. So you've got plastic bins that roll around and you put them in the street and the garbage truck gets them. I've noticed those are all left alone in place, or they're taken away shortly before the fires or right after, before they let the public back. They get rid of evidence. They say it's for your safety. There's got to be truckloads of these plastic containers going out. I've never seen a melted puddle of the plastic, and we've all burned plastic as a kid. You have a plastic pool on the ground. I've not seen that in 107 trips. When I do see a garbage can, it's unaffected or partially melted if there's if it's standing next to something metal. It could be one nail. That nail gets so hot it'll put a big dent or melted spot in the plastic garbage can. So there's got to be empty trucks that come in there, and they're coming out filled with evidence to me. Plastics, paper, synthetics, all kinds of stuff, rubber from garden hoses, all that they're clearing out. Now it has to go to the local dump somewhere. So if people stayed on hilltops, watched them go by, took pictures, follow them to the dumps, see what they're dumping. They're eliminating evidence. And they're doing this everywhere. When I get there, I find it all. They can't hide anything from my eyes.
That's awesome.
This is a nasty picture. It's just unbelievable. And there's a tree to your right. I can't tell.
Gotta protect this man at all costs. He
Big
knows
one.
it.
Yeah, and the twigs would burn right behind the leaves. They didn't. Hanging over 2 houses. Oh my God. Here's your trees in the background. No, it's the same old thing. Everywhere I
So
go.
what's happening
There's
is
the
the
one I want.
insurance is refusing to pay because it's a natural fire. But one of my goals with this video is to tell people, to tell Lahaina, get a prosecutor, find an investigator. If we can prove that this is not natural, then maybe the insurance companies will turn it over and they'll have to pay, and we can change this. And also the fact
My thing is, it's like right here. Like this whole, look at this. Cars right here, house. Nothing is burned right here. Everything else around, done. Even over here a little bit. But not this right here. That's a little
the
odd.
fact that this is an occupied territory and
That's
not
odd.
state, and that's a whole nother story with that. But I'm just curious. I know that a lot of people don't even believe in direct energy weapons because they don't understand how long this has been going on for, and that we are truly at a war, and they're murdering our children, our keiki, our ohana. And it's like, when do we fight back? I know it's a lot, and especially for Lahaina people, they've lost everything. But I'm just curious if there's any investigator out there, any attorney that would even touch this with the 10-foot pole.
I got a feeling it's very few, if any, because they will be approached by the dark ones and told to stand down and go away, paid off, or something worse. And whenever I talk to firemen here in California, none of them can answer my plant questions. None of them. I don't care if they're an investigator. And here they grab somebody that's watching the fire from a distance, and they quickly grab them, put them in jail, and pin it on people that could
Yeah.
not started these fires in their wildest dreams. No way. And I've talked to a few of the lawyers. They kind of disregard me, and they get some plea bargain where the person's going to stay in jail for so many years and fine them, and they didn't even start the fire. And that's CAL FIRE investigators and the local sheriff to whichever community it may be in. But this isn't isolated. They're doing this around the planet.
Yeah.
Paradise
Canada's
is
burning down.
15,000 homes. Santa Rosa.
Yeah, I was up there.
700 homes. Redding was
my mom-
1,500. I've got a chart
1,500.
full of cities in California with the house counts every year. We've never seen house counts like this. You might burn a cabin out in the woods or a small tract, but you don't burn a downtown main area. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
One statistic is my own. Backpacking and climbing over 130 mountains in my lifetime. I've been to every forest zone in the state of California. In all those years, except for the last 7, I've backpacked all summer, thousands of miles on my feet. And the forest fires I've seen where I don't want to take a picture of the nice mountain scenery, in all those years, there's only been 3. And in the last 7 years, we have 10 in the Sierra every year, and they're horrific, from 500,000 acres to 1,000,000 acres, and tons of houses just missing. So all this, and they want to call it global this, global that, climate this, all that's a lie. They can't trick the plant kingdom. When I'm up there, I know every flower I see, and they all grow the same height. Everything looks the same every year, except the fires are burning way more. And the forests aren't all dead in California. Whoever's saying that's lying. They say, oh, they're dead everywhere. No, they're not. I'm up there all the time. So that's a lie, too. Because, of course, pines would be flammable. But even if they are flammable, they're not burning. Even from all the chemical sprays all over California.
That is so wild to me.
They're not an accelerant, lest the trees would have been burning like crazy. They're not. If you've seen my Peggy Hall video, I have plenty of photographs of the whole forest dead, but not burned. And this giant, is it a banyan, or it's one of the ficus, banyan, I think. Why isn't it burned up? The building in front was toasted. The roof's gone. The window's gone. Everything's
But
gone.
this right here, though,
It's
is
the
like what's
wrong
crazy
flame.
to me.
And that's my only answer to that. I can't describe what the flame's composition is. I just know there's microwave in there somewhere.
How do you think, and I know this is just going to be a hypothesis, but how do you think the microwave energy is sent down. So you said satellite, so it's like, because I've seen some pictures of images, but I'm I
Yeah.
don't know if they're
We,
accurate or not.
we,
And we have
we,
not seen any of those
yeah,
pictures from
we,
Maui.
we really can only guess at delivery
Yeah.
systems, but they've been working on it 40 years or even more.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't know. We really don't know. And maybe there's 10 different types. I always say it's kind of
Yeah,
like your blender in the
true.
kitchen. Frappe, stir, crunch. They just put it on a different setting and they get a different effect. We're just guessing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you're
picked
right.
this photo out just an hour ago, not because of all the burned up stuff, but that's a white plastic fence.
I
Yeah,
was looking at that.
it's melted a little and bent, but that's plastic. This kind of heat, it should have melted out and been gone. Also,
Exactly.
portions of that street light, there's plastics in there, and
If
they're not
rims and all of that is gone,
I mean, you look hard, like, why is that plastic fence not gone and in a puddle on the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see
Yep.
this everywhere I go. And the vine on the fence, I don't know what the vine is, I can't tell. It should be gone. There's flames everywhere. Nope.
That's true.
Here's my picture from Redding, California. A whole fence line looked like this, and this was the worst picture, or best. Only the nails are on fire. Then the fire goes out uh, between the cross members, and the wood drops on the ground, and it didn't burn out in the open between the nails. Well, fire
Oh,
doesn't.
wow.
It burns the post and drops the nails on the ground.
That's true.
I've also made the comment the ground itself is on fire. Every post I see is burned at the ground. Sometimes these are in gravel or cement or in a field where it's just dirt, and you're not going to get that kind of burn pattern on the ground. The trees are burned from the inside out, and always at the ground level there'll be a hole, sometimes 3-4 feet deep, down into the ground where the trunk came out. And this is an extreme water lever. A creek's running right past it like a willow, and it's burned straight down with, and oxygen is not, and there's not a lot of oxygen that deep. Uh,
It's true.
but this is common. I'm finding it all the time. It's not just one anomaly. The whole fence line looks like this, and they never saw this. It's on a back road out of Redding, California, and they grab a lady, a backpacker, and they stuck her in jail. She's been in jail for
Yeah.
2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I want the Cal Fire investigators to tell me what's going on with this picture. They can't. They don't have a chance against me. Here's another one, of course.
Look at
Many
that.
species. The ones in the middle are eucalyptus. I can tell that from their growth pattern. They should be
look at that little piece. I know I ain't tripping, but
gone. We had a
like, look at this. Like, that's
fire in
weird to
1991
me.
in Oakland,
I don't know,
Oakland,
y'all.
California. The eucalyptus burned to the ground. They're very volatile. The
Yeah, they
water,
do.
liquids inside will ignite. I went there because I had to do some tree work. These things burn down to low stumps or holes in the ground. I've not seen one leaf burn in 7 years. Any of the
Wow.
effort.
Is that paradise?
No, this is supposed to be Maui. That's what it said.
Oh,
Oh,
Maui.
and there's
Oh.
one of your garbage cans. I finally
Okay.
found. They can't hide them
Oh,
all
oh,
because they don't have enough workers that follow directions. There's always somebody that gets sloppy and doesn't do exactly
Yeah.
what they're told. So here you got wood
God
to
for
the
that.
left. Yeah, the garbage can and the wood to the left, whatever that wood was for. Huh, didn't burn up. Now, this
Exactly.
fire was horrific. And there's
Exactly.
an anomaly itself. Only half that car burned. It's rare I see that. It tells me the fire department got here right now and they actually put that one out. I cannot understand why. Because usually it's the whole car. And I believe the
Yeah.
windows are melted out, even though the back of the car
they are.
did not burn.
Wow.
So here's your house. It's missing. And all these trees around it didn't burn up. Well, first of all,
Right,
where'd
close
the fire
by.
come from? Where'd the fire come from to burn the house? It had to come through the forest.
And
I
the
always
and
say-
the dry grass on the left
Yep,
is
and-
interesting.
And when people say, where'd it come from? That's when I look up. I look up. Now everybody knows about this. These
Everybody.
the umbrellas. This is synthetics. I mean, if you got flying embers, where's the holes?
That's what I'm saying. Everything then like is done, like done. You know, around, but this is not touched at all. You can see just a piece, but just a piece on a little. But these aren't touched. They almost look brand new. Almost look brand new.
A flying embers is a lie. And if they are flying, they're not the normal fires we know of that will burn synthetics. There's something else. So there's your palms, there's your synthetics. And I don't believe these things are made of asbestos. The building's gone. It's just metals. And these things didn't burn up. That one's been circulating around the internet, as well as the blue color
Yeah.
not burning. I can't expand on that. I haven't studied it enough. There might be some truth to the blue, maybe. This is what happens all the time. This is at Big Basin State Park in California. Just out of the park, there's some houses, and the redwoods were black, and I talked about that with Peggy Hall. Your cambial fluids are just inside the bark, and I believe that liquid is what's on fire and burns the trunks, but not the needles. Redwoods are fire retardant.
Oh my gosh,
The
you're
needles
right.
burn up. All the needles burn up in a firestorm. I've backpacked plenty of coast ranges with redwoods. The needles are gone, and they sucker back and grow. So here's one of these canopies with a table under it. Where's those flying embers? Not a hole in it. It didn't burn. And
Oh my
to my left
goodness.
is a house that's missing, and a swimming pool that's plastic. It's unaffected, and I don't have that one here.
There's a plastic
Up
bins.
north, there's Lake Sonoma in the Santa Rosa area. Same thing.
Look at that plastic
Greenville up
trash
there,
bags.
redwoods. They're cooked on the outside, but they didn't burn the leaves.
Got the
Wow.
What kind of forest fire goes through the forest and forgets the number one thing that burns? The leaves. There's a Douglas fir in there too with a P2 written on it. But the biggest point of this photo is they're collecting all the plastics to take them off the properties. Multiple
okay.
homes are gone. They put them together. They're going to bring a truck in there and steal everybody's basically evidence. Notice
Wow.
everything's
Wow.
plastic or wood that didn't burn.
Hmm.
I knew I'd catch them doing this because I have
Wow.
not seen the puddles of plastic. This is in
Oh,
green.
look at that.
Yeah, these melted a teeny
Wow.
bit, and I know there was little metal pieces here and there, but these things should have been gone. This is Greenville, where they burned about 1 million acres in the southern Cascade Range by Mount Lassen, the volcano. The whole town they took away, and I went up there and analyzed it twice now. These people are mad. Oh my God. And of course, they're not letting them rebuild. A few people get lucky. They
Oh
have
my
all
goodness.
these environmental impact reports on their little tiny lot to see if there's a protected worm or something. They're lying to keep them from rebuilding.
Yeah.
No, one lady, Cynthia, that spent $40,000 on fighting Sacramento to get permits just to rebuild her house.
Oh
40,000.
my goodness.
So they're making it really hard. They really are. And I don't know what else they're doing. This is the way you'll find your way.
Taking land.
Just over 2,500 degrees. They're melted, and perhaps they've gone up to 3,000 to make them more liquidy. I don't know, but it starts at around 2,500. Every single car I've seen, no exception. Between
Wildfires
600
burn
and
about
800.
14.
What's that?
Wildfires burn about 1,400.
1427. It's right on the computer.
1427. Okay.
And everybody says, well, the wood's wet. It doesn't burn. The trees are wet. They have water in them. Well, these
Oh my
people,
gosh.
these people are just ignorant. Here's a trailer park or a mobile home park in our delta in California. The mobile homes are gone. There's 21 of them missing. Here's the only wood on the property. That's the door
Wow.
frame. Walk up the steps, open the door, and walk in right there where the door frame is.
Look at that
Why
color
did the
though.
wood not burn?
Look at that color.
Especially on the door side where the coach
That's so
is.
weird.
This is dry wood. This is kindling, not a black mark. Shows you we're dealing with a weapon it's the wrong flame. It's not
Yeah.
butane, it's not propane, it's not acetylene, it's not a wood combustion fire we know of. This is something else. And the closest thing I come up with is microwave area. I don't know exactly, but I've had a fire in my microwave. Some tinfoil was in there
Yeah.
in my honey jar, and that scared the heck out of me.
I
But-
remember that too. Yeah. Put something in there with
so
metal.
here's your wood. I want to see a fire person tell me that the wind was blowing the other direction.
Yeah, and look at the duster. The duster, those fibers on the duster would have gone up.
And I don't know why the bolts on the side didn't light up. I have no idea. I don't have all the answers. But this is damning, this photograph. It's just damning. This is, of course, that same picture.
Yeah.
Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa, 4,700 homes gone. And every time you hear,
Let me see another
A
picture.
Weather Modification Act. And I think that one's the one for 1976, and I think the direct energies was for a certain reason why for 2016. I can't remember the exact ones, but those are all on that page. Maui fires. Oh, and check this out! Wow, the rubber's gone.
also,
Mhm.
Matt woke me up about you're spraying in the sky with jets. We've been modifying the weather there's weather patents, tampering with our weather for over 100 years. It's right on the computer, weather manipulation patents. right on the computer.
Wow.
Anybody can find it. Even the company that took out the patent for that year. So they've been tampering with our weather forever. This is the way I find every single tire. The rubber is completely gone, just some little black there, and it's crunchy and hard, like carbon, I guess. And there's your steel belt, like a little slinky. Then I'll see this, maybe 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 300 tires, same areas. The ground's black,
wow.
everything's burned. And like, what's going on here? So maybe
Not
somebody
the
rolled it
rubber.
there. Great. I
Yeah.
pick it up and look underneath. No, it's been sitting. There's a ring in the dirt or mud. It's been sitting there for at least a year or more. And it didn't burn, it didn't melt, it's not disfigured. It's like, what's
Wow.
going on? Then I
Yeah.
see
I need them kind of tires on my Jeep then.
polyester cord. I guess there's one steel cord on the perimeter that holds it on the tire, but not enough to make it combust. But every time I look at one, I have to look at the tire, and that's what it says, polyester. So right there, you know the metals are on fire. That's what's going on. It's one or the other. I've never seen a partially melted tire yet. I've seen over
Wow.
1,000 tires. Because you'll get to somebody's house that's a hoarder of cars and parts, and there'll be piles of tires. And I'm looking through them, and all of a sudden, there's one of these. It's unbelievable. So that one's really damning. That's all I've brought. I finished up with
I love it.
one of my hidden
I love it. I love it.
waterfalls.
Thank
Nobody
you
knows
so
what
much,
this is.
Robert.
Nobody's ever seen this waterfall.
I think that's the end of the video. Let me
Wow,
check.
it's beautiful for all of your research on this and your 100. Is this real? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Is this what is happening?
We're gonna stop the video right there. Definitely was an amazing video. Just showing those pictures about what's going on and just different things. It is a bit scary seeing this stuff and actually having somebody that's a professional that's looking at these things. Something that's definitely sad. Definitely sending out your prayers. Definitely praying for Maui. Praying that everything is okay and things get better out there in Maui. That's all we can pray for, and for the families, for the children, for everybody out there in Maui. If y'all could say a little prayer and it just even if it's one, is better than not saying nothing at all. But definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, watching this reaction. Definitely let me know y'all thoughts down below. Definitely appreciate y'all if y'all still sticking around for this video. Definitely was a longer video. But make sure y'all stay tuned. If there's videos y'all want me to check out, make sure y'all DM me on Instagram, LifeWithRecklezz, or email me, LifeWithRecklezz@yahoo.com. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all. Make sure y'all send y'all prayers out, or just pray, for everybody. It doesn't hurt. I know it's a lot of people that does wrong, and I still pray. I pray for everybody because everybody needs a prayer regardless of who you are. And that's just how I feel about it. But much love to everybody. Definitely appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit the like button, that subscribe button. Catch y'all next one.